is a lot of extra work, but I would say the results, the seeds that are sown are multiplied many times. And it's hard to imagine our congregation having seen so much achieved and so much accomplished, or even close to that, without the mission teams that we've had.
Effort that goes in during the 6 weeks we have a team, we don't only see fruit from it those 6 weeks, we see a momentum that lasts for the rest of the year. Well, even just in the life of the congregation in the future. So definitely the energy that it takes is worth it.
We have seen about 500 young people go through the program since we began. And of those 500 that we've had, 36 to 40 that have gone on to seminary to pursue pastoral ministry. That we've had 16 to 20 that have served long-term overseas. In fact, we have 3 of our former short-termers now serving full-time in southern Sudan in a long-term mission effort there to reach the Dinka people. We've also seen those that didn't feel called into pastoral ministry or didn't feel called to long-term missionary service, come back to their home congregations and seek to implement what they had been taught, what they had learned while they worked shoulder to shoulder with those pastors and elders in those other congregations. So that they've gone home and sought to lead evangelism studies. They've sought out to begin efforts to reach their own communities or begin literature distribution in their home congregations. All of which are exciting developments and I think is a great boost to their home congregations, those families, churches, friends who have invested so heavily in them to make sure that they could go. But they've also been the ones who have invested in them to teach them from God's Word. They've sat under faithful preaching for years, and this short-term mission opportunity has given them the opportunity to put into practice those things, those tools which God has given them over the course of their years growing up within His church.
That's what we're asking of people. We go out and we present Christ and call them to faith in Him. And short-term missions can be very helpful in that process. Long-term missions, people are there teaching, preaching, showing the ministry of mercy of Christ in a culture for a long period of time. But there are 1,000,001 things that need to be done. And in the kind of short-term missions that RP Missions does, they go for a considerable period of time. And from my observations, it seems to be lengthening, not shortening. And that's all the better. And what people are doing is coordinating with those on the field. We have, I'm in a different denomination than the Reformed Presbyterian Church of North America. I'm an Orthodox Presbyterian minister and have the privilege of teaching at the seminary for the RPCNA. And in my denomination, we have a mission field where we have a number of missionaries in Uganda. Some are in Mbali, and some are way out among a cattle-stealing culture known as the Karamojong. And even out there, in the middle of literally nowhere, RP Missions has sent teams of missionaries. And because the planning was done ahead of time, there was communication, and sister churches and missions were working together, it proved, I hope it was profitable for the young people who went. But I know from my own associating missionaries, the missionaries I'm associated with there, that they said, man, as far as we're concerned, if we're going to have any short-term missionaries, just send them from RP Missions.
I learned a lot about cross-cultural ministry. The Wilkinsburg congregation and the mission trip is centered around an inner-city ministry to lower-income families, but especially children, with Vacation Bible School and after-school kids ministries, and ministering to people who are not used to the same cultural norms that you are. It presents its challenges. For example, most of the kids don't come from stable families, and some of them don't even know their dads and have never met their dads, which is quite a bit different from what I'm used to growing up in a family where we were always together.
One big thing that I learned was working with my team members was difficult at times, but also really, really good to learn how to interact in a godly way, to uphold one another in prayer and encourage one another. Because we're together 24/7, so it was. And then by having a strong team, we were then able to work together to minister to the people around us, and so that would be a big thing. Also, seeing people in a different culture serving God with their whole heart, with their whole soul, everything, really, really convicted me to have Christ as number one in my life. So I've brought that back from both of my trips, and it's impacted everything that I do here.
Now in Sudan, we work on a team, and in fact, the number one reason today in the mission world for missionaries leaving the field is team conflict. And so learning at a younger age and in a more short-term setting how to work with others that are very different from myself, and to see how God uses very different personalities together and towards a common purpose was definitely a benefit of the short-term team.
I learned a lot to rely on the Lord and be very flexible. You can't, on a mission trip, you can't always plan out what you're going to do every day to the nearest minute or even the nearest hour, because you just don't know what's going to happen. If you're going to have somebody come to the door and be asking for food, or a member of the mission team getting injured, or you just don't know what's going to happen, and it forced me to be very flexible. And I tend to be an organized person, so it was good to, minute by minute, hour by hour, rely on the Lord to see what He was going to do.
I've learned so much. I've really grown a lot. When I went to Phoenix, I was 16. I turned 16 there. And I really didn't, I was definitely a Christian, and I definitely knew a lot of what I believed, but after going on the trip, I saw so much more about serving the church and how much work it is to put into just every Sunday. And I learned a lot of service, a lot of reaching out to the community and sharing the gospel with people, which was huge. In Phoenix, the pastor does this program where he teaches some steps to ask people, questions to ask people, and how to approach different people in the community and bring the gospel into it. And it really stretched me a lot, and I grew a lot from that.